Hi everybody. You see me in a previous video speak about my trailer, but I want to introduce you today to my motorhome. This is Butte. What you see there is a 2005 Gulfstream Coach B Touring Cruiser, or BT Cruiser some people like to say. It's a small class C on a Chevy 3500 1-ton van cutaway chassis. It's a 6-liter Chevy V8, gas powered. It's model 5211B, and the middle numbers, the 21, mean that it's a model 21-foot coach. And so in reality, it's 22 feet, 4 inches long. I really love it a lot so far. What I love about it is its compactness. So when I'm towing the trailer, my overall length is about 38 feet. That means that I can go to the grocery store or Costco or wherever, and I can fit in 2 spots front to back without going over on each. So I really like that, where I don't have to, take up 10 spots going the other direction. It has everything you need. I have a galley. One thing I really wanted it for was the heating and cooling aspects. So there's a 25,000 BTU furnace in it, and there's a air conditioner, gas absorption refrigerator, 2-way, hot water heater, bathroom, shower, and a little bit of storage. It's on a 12,300 gross vehicle weight rated chassis, and normally I'm running, I just weigh myself on this trip, I'm 10,700 pounds right now. Towing the trailer and both of the motorcycles and all the gear, I get about 10 to 11 miles per gallon, just like everyone else gets with a gas RV. Anyway, so far so good. I really am enjoying it. I'll give you a full tour and some of the improvements I've done. Hey guys, little tour of the motorhome here. First thing I wanted to show you was this addition here, which is the windshield cover. That's by Adco. It's a nice vinyl cover. Reason I love that is, 1, privacy. Nobody can kind of peek in. 2, keeps the sun off the interior dash and stuff like that. And 3, it helps with weather and thermal. So when it's sun's on it right now, it helps prevent it from getting too hot inside the coach. And when it gets cold, it helps keep a little of the heat in. So really love that. Recently got new tires for it. These are the Cooper Discover HT3. They're a rib tire, meaning there's a full rib on the inside and outside with the traction lugs in the inside. Really like that. I've always been a big fan of Cooper, and these are also still made in USA. That's another reason I went with these. Got them at Discount Tire for a reasonable price. So far so good. I'm really liking them. A little tour of the outside. So some people call this a B+. I mean, technically it's a C, but it's got the front nose cap. It's all fiberglass. It's a little bit better aerodynamics than if you had the full bed up there. Under here I have a 3600 watt generator powered by gasoline, which feeds off of the main fuel tank of the vehicle. Small compartment, fuel fill, all your normal connections, battery compartment, sewer valves and stuff under there. Okay, coming around the other side. One thing I do like is these full fiberglass steps going into the cab. This is the one main storage compartment here. Not a lot of storage because it's not a huge coach, right? But it's ample for what I need, and I mostly have, you know, all the tire changing tools, miscellaneous tools and stuff under there. Decent sized windows, same on each side. Fridge intake vent, fridge exhaust vent, furnace vent, the main entry door, awning, badging on the side, exterior outlet, and then hot water tank venting and stuff, and then access for the propane tank, valve and such is in there. So, like I said, so far so good. I really am enjoying my time with this little coach. Because the extension from the back wheels, it's got a limited capacity on the tow hitch, but it happens to be just enough to be able to tow my little cargo trailer, little 12-foot cargo trailer, which I haul the bikes and the rest of my tools and stuff in. So you'll rarely see me without the trailer, but the coach is pretty fantastic on its own if you just wanted to kind of run around like that. Okay, now let's move on to an inside tour of the BT Cruiser. As we enter, there are 3 stairs. They are quickie retractable electric steps. So we move inside. The first thing you see is the bathroom door. On the right hand side here is the wall where I put command strip hooks to hang my hats and my jacket. Enter, move to the left or to the rear of the coach, and we find the galley. We have an Amana microwave / convection oven. You see it's a pretty good size. Stainless steel inside. Pretty nice unit. Next to that is the overhead storage. Below that is a double stainless steel sink. I replaced the faucet with just a residential style with a retractable sprayer. Helps clean things. The other thing I like is it's taller. The original one just is one of those old like 80s, 90s style that just come out straight and it's like way down here. Hated that. I added this wall mount paper towel holder here. It's like in the perfect spot, and this is a nice one. It's got like resistance. There's like a little click in there, which helps pull it off, but also it won't allow it to unravel itself just from travel. Got a generator, start stop switch, hour meter, water heater switch, test levels switch, water pump switch, and then the levels if you trust the sensors on those. Window. Moving to the left, under the microwave, knife holder. That's pretty cool. I added these little spice racks. They're coming in really handy. This board here, I don't know if this is an original item or if one of the previous owners installed it, but it looks like it fits on top of there real nicely. And then usually what I do is I move it over and I cover just one of the sinks with it, and then it gives me a lot more counter space. And then I can just use something like this as a cutting board 3 burner propane range, the cover, and then one access drawer under here for pots and pans and stuff. Down here we have the salesman's switch, or the 12 volt cutoff switch. Switches for the electric step to keep it on when the door opens and closes. Cargo storage light and porch light switches. Fire extinguisher. There's 3 drawers. Little one of these. Storage under there. So Galley's pretty well equipped for such a small coach. Same with the bathroom. Move in there next. So mirror over here. Medicine cabinet. Toilet paper holder. Sink. Again, I replaced the faucet with just a more residential style of my soft soap right here, and I have that held down with that earthquake putty, and then that thing's never moved. It's awesome. I added they call it a hotel guest little towel holder. That's great. It's a 2-person one, so it will hold 2 washcloths, 2 hand towels, 2 bath towels. Oxygenetics shower. That's awesome. I've also just put a little bar in there. Kind of helps hold my soaps and stuff, and then gives me an extra place to hang a towel or swimsuits or whatever. Not big, but big enough. Oh, I also added the upgraded, changed out the crappy original fan to just one of these Vortex fans. They're not the best either, but they're super cheap and they move more air than that little 4 or 5 inch fan that's stock. And it's a good option for just doing something fairly quick and easy, not having to replace the whole vent cover. You know, if you want to go with a Max Air or Fantastic fan. Lights, I changed out all the lights in the coach to LED, and in a coach this big, or small I should say, that wasn't that bad of a job, and it wasn't very expensive. Added a full-length mirror. And most of the stuff I've done, I learned this from other people online, and that's one of the reasons I'm doing this, is to try to do my part to help give people ideas or whatever if I can. I install this and most other things with rivets. So anything that's fastened down, or any improvements or extras I put in here, are most likely either held down with rivets or command strip Velcro tape. Okay, as we come around, view the main interior of the coach here. On the right hand side, we have the refrigerator. Freezer up top, refrigerator down below. It's a 2-way Dometic model 2652. One thing I added that is, to me, seems like a must with these things is the temperature. So there's a sensor in the freezer and a sensor in the refrigerator, so you can just at a glance know where you're at. You can, it's got a memory for, records the low and the high of each one, so you can see if you've gotten too high. And then also there's alarms that you can set, so you know that's handy in case you turn it off and forget to turn it on for some reason or something. The alarm, you can set the alarm and it will kind of beep at you and let you know. Okay, I just kind of keep my assortment of shoes and stuff on this side down here. Under the fridge is the intake panel. The furnace is underneath the fridge. There's one of the things there. Move around. Small garbage can with a lid. That's like a must to keep the smells down. Also, it's nice to have a small can because that means you empty it more often. Also, keeping the smells out of the coach. Propane detector at the bottom. Behind the fridge is the main fuse and breaker panel, the heart of the electric system, and everything is behind that. And under this drawer is all the main components for the electrical system. So the 12 volt converter, battery charger, the transfer switch, and then I added a inverter, which is a little Pro Watt SW 600 watt model, and I installed that in there also because the batteries are really close, so I only had to run cables like less than 3 feet, so that's nice. And then the Pro Watt has a remote switch, so I can turn that on and off. And then I also added, wired in this 12 volt switchable dual cigarette lighter style plugs. It was the only 12 volt socket that came stock in the coach was for the TV antenna area. So moving up, kind of the everything drawer, and then the one main closet. Hang coats and shirts and stuff. And then I like using just the regular carry-on style suitcases when I travel. Depending on how long I'm going to be gone, I'll grab one or two or more. You just kind of stack them up in here. Easy to take in and out, keep things organized. Okay, one thing people always want to know about is the sleeping situation, the bed's in here. So what I usually do, you see I have set up the twin size bed, which is basically the jackknife sofa. So sofa on the roadside of the coach, folds down, makes a twin size bed, and then what I do is I put a memory foam twin size topper on top of that. It makes it super comfortable. And that's just how I usually have it when I'm traveling alone. Although the sleeping situation is quite versatile inside this coach. So we have the twin size over here. On the curbside we have the dinette, which will of course fold down also into almost a twin size bed. That will keep a small aisleway and some separation between two twin size beds. Another option is the kick plate for the sofa will slide out and then fold up and basically fill the gap all the way to the dinette. So if you do that, that's basically a full-size bed now with no aisleway. Or if you make up the dinette also, you can transform the whole area into basically a giant king-size bed. Okay. Moving around, roadside. So the shades that come stock are just an opaque. They're not a blackout, but that works just fine for me. There's overhead storage, overhead light, cabinet, cabinetry, and then light socket. Then over here is the antenna and 12 volt outlet I mentioned earlier. It's basically, and then it's a booster switch. So the overhead cabinets are like that. They're continuous, just different doors. And then I like to organize things with these Moving around, DVD player, cabinetry. There's another cabinet under there. Cabinet over here. Of course, the big thing you'll see is the TV. So, of course, that's one of the first things I upgraded when I got this coach. There was just a 19-inch tube TV inset into that cabinetry back there, and that just wasn't going to do for me. So this is a 43-inch Roku TV made by TCL, and below it is a Yamaha front surround soundbar, and those combined make a pretty awesome viewing experience in here when you're camping. Also unique about the TV is this ring you can pull and it releases, and there's an articulating arm, so this TV can pull out and move side to side. I don't know how I'm going to do this with one hand, but you get the idea. It will turn, it'll pull out, and so you can customize the viewing angle. If you are watching TV from the couch, you can pull it out and face it that way. If you're watching it from the dinette, you can move it. If you're watching in bed, you can move it over if you want. And then ultimately it just pushes back and locks into place for transport. Pretty sweet. Another set of cabinetry over the dinette. It's usually where I keep my food and stuff. Pretty large windows, which people like. Here's a couple items I've added that I'll go over. Another paper towel holder. This one's got a sweet arm. Again, keeps the paper towels from unraveling. The next thing's got a weighted base and then a rubber foot. So I travel with it just sitting on the table like that, and it has never moved. Again, more of these little stick-on clippies. I have them organized for salt and pepper on the table. Couple cup holders. Bluetooth speaker for when you're boondocking, just listen to music. And then these are fantastic. It's a charging dock for your phones and stuff, tablets and whatever. And so I bought this, and then 4 of these cords that are a combination mini or micro USB, and then it's got the little adapter to add the Apple charger on. Under the dinette's got storage on both sides. See, it's pretty ample under there. That's usually where I will keep all my bedding stuff when I want to store it and make the couch. Okay, before we get too far, just a quick pan of inside the cab. Sorry, it's dark in there. I got the shades up. I have an extra roll-up camping pad that fits the dinette area for somebody to sleep there also. Okay, that's about it for the tour, since this thing's not very big, but I will say a few more things about a few other items. I laid out some items on my bed here to remind myself to talk about things that are nice to have. Fan. This is a Road Pro, pretty sure I got it off Amazon. It runs off D-cell batteries, or it's also got a little cable cord for 12-volt outlet socket. 2-speed fan, works really well. Next, little electric heater. So this is a Vornado whole room heater. What's nice about these is when you are hooked up to electric, you can run something like this with it's got a thermostat and 3 different power selections. So 1, 2, and 3 for different outputs of power, and then an on-off switch. And then it's got a tip over switch. It's got overheat protection built in. And so I just plug this in. Usually I'll plug it in the back on top of the cutting board back there, and it'll just blow warmer air inside here. And it's hardly ever on, but it's enough to like keep the chill off, and to where I don't have to run the propane furnace. The propane furnace is a monster. It's like a 25,000 BTU system, which is like the same one they run in all sides of like Class C motorhomes up to, I don't know, 30 feet. And so it's like a fire-breathing dragon. Every time it kicks on, it wakes me up. So usually what I'll do is I'll run that thing, crank the heat up in here before I go to bed, and then if I have electric, I'll run something like this, and because this thing's basically whisper quiet and just kind of keeps me warm. So recommend that. Next thing, little shoe dryer / warmer. That's based off a 12 volt. You kind of just, put those in your shoes. Get little fans in there, and it heats up a little bit, but it mostly just moves air, so it'll dry your shoes if you get them wet, or sandals or whatever. And then lastly, I really love these. Got these at Costco. It's a collapsible little storage tote, and I use these basically to bring stuff to and from the motorhome. And then also if you're going to go shopping or go take laundry or something like that, when you're not using them, just fold it down, tuck it somewhere. So those are great. Oh, also before I forget, what is my number 1 tip for first thing, improvement, mod, whatever I would do to a motorhome after first getting it? Buy the 360 siphon vent caps for your black and gray tank vents. Those things are awesome. They dramatically improve the smells that come out of there. And now that they have the Generation 2, which make it so you can just do an aftermarket install versus, taking off all your die core and doing a whole bunch of other stuff, the Generation 2 is awesome. So anyway, those are sweet. Do that. That's my number 1 tip for first thing I would do for a mod. The other thing I wanted to talk about was the power inverter. People are always curious how that works. So this is a Class C. This is a real basic and rudimentary system. I don't have a power controller and smart this and smart that, that big fancy Class A's and stuff have. So you got to get creative. And so what I did was, when I wired in my inverter, I installed it inside where everything else is, and then I basically stole the curbside circuit from the power fuse box breaker panel, and I wired a plug on that, and I plugged that into the power inverter. So now my power inverter is basically powering the curbside circuit of the coach, which happens to be it starts up where the TV is. So the entertainment center is ran by the power inverter. The cell phone charger and the plug above the dinette is ran off the power inverter. And then also I have a plug for the refrigerator. So when that's ran on electric, I can also run that off the power inverter. So that's nice if, say, I'm traveling. Um, I know people say that's a really bad and inefficient way to do it, but if you're uncomfortable having your propane on when you're traveling, I can run the fridge off the power inverter, so that draws somewhere around 300, 350 watts. So it's about 55% of my power. So, but the alternator will charge my house batteries when I'm driving. So there may be some, power loss and inefficiency there, but some people might like to do that by feeling safer by not running propane. And then another thing I did was I ran a second plug off the roadside circuit that I can basically change. So I can plug in the fridge from run off the power inverter to run off the roadside circuit for when I'm in camp and I have electric, that the fridge can be ran off of the pedestal electric by being plugged into that circuit. So I can switch back and forth. So that's something kind of unique. So I just wanted to mention something about that. The other question that always comes up is, what about solar? Do you have solar? I do have a little solar. I do not have anything permanently mounted to the motorhome. Basically what I'm running is I kind of built myself, think of one of those kind of suitcase systems by like Renogy or something. So basically I have one 100-watt monocrystalline solar panel, a waterproof charge controller, and basically a system of cables where I have a plug-in and alligator clips. And so when I am boondocking, I basically put the solar panel on top of my trailer, run cables, connect them to the house batteries, and it gives me some charge. Most of the time when I'm boondocking, I'm conscious of my power usage, and so I and again I changed all the lighting to LED, and so I can, most of the time I can get enough power from that one panel to suit my needs, which is basically use a little bit of lights, use the water pump, and watch a movie before I go to bed at night, and charge my, electronic devices. So I'm not using a lot of energy. I don't use a hair dryer, I don't have a coffee pot, those kinds of things. So it works just fine. And then of course there's the onboard 3600 watt generator. So if my batteries do start to run down, or I want to use the microwave convection oven, or just need that additional power consumption, I'll fire up the generator. So all in all, the system is pretty good. I haven't really needed any extra, and so I'm pretty stoked with this coach. I'm having a good time. I'm doing what I love. I'm getting out there, adventuring, exploring. Another thing I'll mention is we have a low profile Dometic air conditioning system that is ducted. So pretty unique for a small coach like this, and it's pretty nice. All right, I'm sure I missed something, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Go ahead and leave me questions and comments down below, and I'll do my best to respond. Thanks again for joining me. Have safe travels. Bye.